So imagine you have this hidden trust fund.
A trust fund. Okay, I'm listening.
Right, but instead of cash, it's filled with something called stored up grace. And you're facing the absolute worst crisis of your life. Like everything is just falling apart. How do you find the PIN code to unlock it?
That is a really great question.
Yeah, so today's deep dive into a Sunday message from August 9th, 2026 tries to answer exactly that. We're looking at this roadmap for resilience that blends ancient texts with some, pretty striking modern survival stories.
Yeah, and the central argument here is that when we hit rock bottom, our biological instinct is to scramble for a physical escape hatch.
Hmm.
We just want out of the bad situation immediately.
Oh, absolutely. Fight or flight, right?
Exactly. But the text suggests the first digit of that PIN code isn't physical at all. It's this internal psychological shift they define as reverence.
Okay, reverence, because they use King David from Psalm 31 as the baseline for this, right? He was trapped, feeling like this discarded, broken vessel caught in a net.
Right. His external situation didn't change at all.
Yeah, but his mindset did. But wait, I have to push back here. When we hear about revering or fearing a higher power, doesn't that just mean living in a state of paralyzing terror? Like, how is that helpful when you're already terrified of going bankrupt or being attacked?
I mean, it sounds totally counterintuitive, but the psychology actually makes a lot of sense. Fearing a higher power in this context means elevating something way above your immediate circumstances.
Oh, so it's like recentering your authority.
Exactly. If your ultimate respect is directed upward, those earthly threats like bankruptcy or attackers, they suddenly just shrink in comparison. The text illustrates this with a wild historical account of a church leader named Bishop Nora Perix.
Wait, what happened to him?
So he was hiding from Roman soldiers in a cave, like pure life or death survival mode.
Okay.
But a spider rapidly spun a web across the cave entrance.
Okay.
And when the soldiers arrived, they saw this unbroken web, logically assumed no one had gone inside recently, and they literally just walked past.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the bishop later wrote that grace through a spider web was stronger than an iron door.
That is such a wild visual, like an unseen fragile thread acting as a literal shield. But, that leads me to a bigger question. A spider web hides you, sure. But what happens when the threat doesn't just walk past? What if it's already actively destroying your life?
Well, that brings us to the second digit of the PIN code, which is active reliance. The source actually contrasts King Hezekiah trusting his faith over an invading Assyrian army with a really intense modern account of a man named Elder Lee Jungwoo.
Okay, who is he?
So, Lee experienced a catastrophic business collapse in Daegu. He was in such deep despair, he actually fled to Jeju Island, fully intending to end his life.
Oh, man, that is incredibly heavy.
It really is. But he was saved by locals. And he didn't just passively survive, he started going to a local church and actively leaning into his faith.
Right, which didn't just magically put money back in his bank account, obviously.
No, definitely not. Instead, it changed his cognitive baseline. By relying on a higher purpose, he stopped hyperfixating on his massive failure. He regained clarity, courage, and really the mental bandwidth to take calculated risks again.
And that's what ultimately allowed him to rebuild a massively successful construction business.
I see. It's like wearing a safety harness on a construction site. The harness doesn't magically stop you from slipping off the scaffolding.
Right, you can still fall.
Exactly. But if you actively trust it to bear your weight, it catches you, stabilizes you, and lets you climb back up.
That is a perfect analogy. It's an active posture, not just a passive one.
But let's be real for a second here. What happens when there is no triumphant business comeback, like when the external circumstances never actually improve, no matter how much you rely on that harness?
Yeah, the text anticipates that exact scenario with the story of CEO Lee Hyojin. She suffered severe burns at just 18 months old, enduring immense physical and psychological pain her whole life.
Oh, that's awful. And later as an adult, she fell victim to these completely devastating business scams.
So she definitely didn't get the neat, bow-tied, happy ending.
No, not at all. Her story isn't about some miraculous physical healing or sudden wealth. Her breakthrough was realizing that even when literally everything is stripped away, money, health, security, a loving presence remains.
Wow.
Yeah, by recognizing that unconditional love, she built this internal foundation that external scams or physical scars simply couldn't touch. That love became the final anchor.
So we have our three anchors, right? Revere, rely, and love. That is the full PI code. You unlock this trust fund of stored up grace, not by forcing the world around you to change, but by completely shifting your internal posture towards it.
Exactly. And that leaves you, the listener, with a final question to ponder today.
Oh, I like a good question to leave on there.
Yeah, so think about this. If something as fragile as a spider web can act as an iron door, what seemingly insignificant fragile things in your own life might actually be providing your greatest protection right now?